I think there's still lots of research to be done, but what we currently know is, for my research, for example, there's a lot of the hit count matters. So number of hits to the head. It doesn't even have to be necessarily how many concussions a player has, but it's just like an exposure. So if you think of like the pitch count in baseball, where we're trying to restrict how many throws a pitcher's giving every game, you can get the same thing with for example, a football player or a soccer player, how many headers they're giving, performing in practice throughout the week leading up to a game, and then how many in the game. Same thing with football. We're seeing guys are taking something like 50, 60% of their hits just in practice, and then you're going to get almost double that amount in games as well in just one day.
So because I know, maybe give us a sense of the kind of focus group that you did, the results, and what does that now mean practically? What do you do with these results, with these numbers?
Sure. So for my master's degree, we actually put, they're called G-Force trackers. They're these devices from a company in Toronto, and we put them in all the players' helmets so we could measure the input of every single hit the players took. So we had all this biomechanical data, and then we wanted an output measure to know what the effect these hits were having. So we measured EEG, so that's the electrical brain activity in the players, and we did that at certain time points in the season at the end of the season. And we looked for a correlation between how many hits they took and the changes we saw in this brain activity, and there were significant changes.
Well, what would be the next steps after that?
I think next is looking at stuff like more of a longitudinal look, so we can look at players who we measured last year, this year, the following year, so we can get a kind of idea for a university career, for example. We can also look at restricting certain players and seeing if a player who took a lot of hits last year, if we restrict their number of hits maybe in practice, if that has a positive effect on the brain activity.
Tim, you're the executive director at the Concussion Legacy Foundation, and I want to read something here. You guys started a program called Team Up Against Concussions, which is a community program geared to kids from, if I'm correct, grades 4 to 12. Wonderful. Teaches them about concussions and here's the part where I thought it was so interesting, how to create a safe concussion culture. When I read that, the first thing that came to my mind is, what does a safe concussion culture look like? Break that down for us. What is that?
So one of the things that we've looked at is why athletes fail to report concussions. And particularly at the youth level, one of the ones that you see is not wanting to let their teammates or their coach or their parents down. And so part of our Team Up message has been, the importance of reporting a concussion, but not only that, but the importance of the coach making it permissible to do so, and in fact instructing your teammates that it's expected that if either you or if one of your teammates, because often what you see is nobody else necessarily notices, right? Like even at the pro level where you have spotters in the stands, people miss concussions. So when you're talking a bunch of 8-year-old kids running around, and if you've ever been near 8-year-olds playing any kind of sport, it's pretty chaotic. And so pretty difficult to notice necessarily every time one of those kids falls and potentially is vulnerable for a concussion. But what you often see is it's the teammates that recognize it. The teammates recognize, hey, Bobby's acting a little bit strange. So it's creating that culture where the coach has instructed them to do it, where the parents are instructing them to do it, but then it's the fundamental message of take care of your teammates, because a lot of times those are really the kids that notice.
Jeff, Tim, thank you guys so much for your time.
Thanks for
appreciate
having
you.
us. Yeah.
Really appreciate you guys.